The Final Fantasy franchise has built a reputation on sweeping stories, unforgettable characters, and emotional finales that often linger with players long after the credits roll. These games know how to deliver endings that feel monumental, whether through heartbreak, catharsis, or victory over impossible odds. But among all of them, one conclusion stood apart for years as the most devastating and poetic twist the series had ever pulled off. Unfortunately, its direct sequel ended up unraveling much of its impact. When Final Fantasy X released, it gave fans a romance unlike anything the franchise had delivered before. Tidus and Yuna's relationship was slow-burning and tender, making their final moments together all the more crushing. The shocking revelation that Tidus was never truly real, that he was only a dream of the fate, meant that his victory over sin was also his undoing. His existence faded the moment he achieved what he set out to do, leaving Yuna behind to grieve even as she carried the hope of Spira on her shoulders. The game closed with an ending that was equal parts beautiful and heartbreaking, a finale many players still consider one of the greatest in gaming. But then came Final Fantasy X2. To its credit, the sequel experimented boldly, shifting tone and introducing a fun new combat system. Yet one creative decision overshadowed all of that: the return of Tidus. His reappearance required players to achieve 100% completion, but the very fact that he could come back undermined the emotional core of the first game. If Tidus could simply be revived by the fate, then the tragic weight of Yuna's loss at the end of FFX was retroactively softened. What had once been a singular, devastating moment suddenly became just another obstacle on the way to a reunion. The problem wasn't just that Tidus returned. It was how abruptly and awkwardly it happened. The sequel leaned on convoluted explanations, Shuin's resemblance to Tidus, and ambiguous epilogues that muddied the waters rather than enriched them. Instead of deepening the themes of loss and love, the revival felt like an unnecessary footnote that cheapened both games' stories. Yuna's journey in X2 could have been more powerful had it explored her grief, resilience, and growth without undoing the finality of FFX's conclusion. Looking back, it's clear that Final Fantasy XS ending worked precisely because it was final. The sorrow of watching Tidus vanish gave the story its lasting power. Bringing him back, even briefly, robbed that ending of its permanence. It was an understandable attempt to give Yuna a happier ending, but one that came at the cost of one of gaming's most unforgettable moments. Square Enix has continued experimenting with sequels and remakes since then, and with the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy openly reimagining iconic events, fans are rightfully cautious. There's always a risk that in trying to revisit beloved stories, developers might undermine what made them so impactful in the first place. With any luck, the lesson of FFX and its sequel remains a reminder. Sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones left untouched.